Joining us this morning is a prominent politician, a prolific writer, former Chief of Staff, Government House, Port Harcourt, in the days of His Excellency Right Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi as Governor of Rivers State. We have with us in the studio Chief Tony Okocha. And good morning, sir, and thank you so much for joining us on Point Blank.
Thank you so much, Chego, for having me.
It's been a while. You're looking younger and fresher.
Give glory to God.
All right, let's talk a bit of politics. Now, I recall that in one of your articles, which you wrote in February this year, you said in that article, you said, Rivers people cannot betray Tinubu. Of course, that seems to be history now. We've seen the primaries. Are you still confident that in the coming days, Rivers people will not betray Tinubu, who is the standard bearer of the APC in the presidential elections?
Yeah, thank you so much. I still stand with it, and I hold tenaciously to that idea. The outcome of the convention also portrayed or showed to the fact that Rivers people didn't betray Tinubu because he won the election. So, I mean, if you put it cumulatively, you find out Tinubu won the election. Let me also assure you and assure our listeners that here in Rivers State, we are game, we are ready for a proper takeoff, and that Tinubu will win more more votes in Rivers State than the APC itself. That's one nugget that I would like to drop anywhere we find ourselves. But my dear friend, can I also seize this opportunity to, when you were making your intro, you said that I'm going to lead. I'm not sure I'm going to lead the campaign. Because
not literally.
Yeah, well, I had an organization that vanguards for Tinubu to be president of Nigeria 2023. But whether or not I will lead the organization here in the campaigns here, I still cannot put my finger straight to say so, because no letters have been distributed or given to us for that assignment. So, but whatever it is, I will be at the epicenter of the campaign for Tinubu for President 2023, Rivers State and National.
But again, when your name, and talking about the Vanguard for Tinubu campaign organization, I recall that when your name was also mentioned for the one to hold that position in Rivers State, according to a statement issued by Professor David Pam Yakubu, there was criticism, or there were criticisms in Rivers State, and one of them actually called on the leadership of the APC to quickly remove that idea of having you, because you're described as a saboteur or a sabotage or a turncoat, that you're not even a member of the APC in Rivers State.
Yes, I think I read that tribe from specifically one to Chukwuemeka Eze, but somehow I wouldn't almost like dismissed it or waved it away. And the reason why I thought I should have waved it away, that for the numerous calls and questions that a lot of people asked, I just should have waved it away. The reason I would have done so was that Chukwuemeka Eze is not a voter in Rivers State. I don't know. I can be sure that he is not a voter in Rivers State. I don't know the unit at all that he votes. I know he's not one. Chukwuemeka Eze is from Ebonyi State and does not practice politics here. What he does here is freelancing, as far as I'm concerned. But not to take him personally. The reason, again, why I didn't think it was necessary for me to waste my precious time talking to him is that all of us knew in this state that Chukwuemeka Eze claims that he is a publicist to my former boss, Right Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi, who was an aspirant in the contest for the presidential candidate of the APC. And he was in contest with my principal. I was sided that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and I'm still siding him. At the end of the day, Bola Ahmed Tinubu emerged. And here, I was part of the strong men who, supported Tinubu. And for somebody who is just a stranger, asking that after we have won, that I should not, benefit from what I actually, participated in the making is nonsensical. You understand? Let me give you just a kitchen example.
Please do.
Yeah, we have, both of us are doing 100 meters dash. And I'm the first to breast the tape. And at the point of award of the trophy, they now get back to you that I defeated, when I was not disqualified. And there was no reason for such. It's an aberration. Allow me to use the Creole that is training now. No be juju be that. So it's just unthinkable when he came up with those. I remember that. I know that it came out of some kind of bile, just a vituperation out of nothingness.
But you're saying it came out of bile. But the question is, are you still a member of the APC?
Oh, I'm a founding member of the APC, or Progressive Congress in Rivers State. I'm sure you know that at the nascence of APC in Rivers State, I was at the epicenter. Outside my boss, who was the governor, I knew more of the formation or our belongation to the APC in Rivers State more than every other person else. So I am still a member of the All Progressive Congress, a very staunch one for that matter. I've not turned in any resignation whatsoever.
But again, that's going to keep a lot of people in doubt. Particularly, I saw an article which you wrote, a very beautiful article that came out, I think, 2 days ago. And the title of the article is "The First Poor and Opprobrious Spew of Grandstander." That's anybody reading through that article would say this man is a PDP man.
No, that couldn't be true. I merely espoused the truth. What was I responding to, really? Sometimes you just sit down in your recess and all of that. People will wake you up to do one thing or the other. And I want to say to myself that I'm a policy analyst, all right? And then there was this argument raging, and I felt I should make contributions because my opinion was sought. And I needed to put it in writing. And I said that it was wrong for anybody to say that certain things happen. Okay, let me put the case.
Maybe we should put it in context.
Yes, the matter
it was all about what did Rotimi Amaechi attracted to Rivers State while he was a minister.
Very well. And I did a critical analysis, juxtaposing what he did with what the governor now, then as minister, did in Rivers State. And I said clearly that the governor was right when he said that my boss, the Right Honorable Chibuike Amaechi, who just resigned from cabinet a few months ago, did not attract anything to Rivers State, no developmental project. We're not saying that maybe within the period that Buhari was president or is president of Nigeria, that one developmental project or the other may not have come to Rivers State. It is our right. Every federating unit, as in states, is entitled to developmental projects from the center because we also contribute, and that is what it is. Now, what the point here is that the Governor Wike has said this, and it's clear, and I support it. It's true, because he said as Minister of State for Education, he was able to attract a faculty of law to University of Port Harcourt. He was able to attract the Polytechnic, Oil and Gas Polytechnic in Bonny. He was able to deploy, grants to even state universities and tertiary institutions in Rivers State. And to that extent, one would have said, as Minister for Education, this is what I have done. Now, just suppose that with the Minister of Transportation. What we heard was that there was a transportation university built in Daura, and the promise was made ab initio that the university will be sited in Ubima. My brother, can we find anywhere that university is? We heard of Kaduna, Abuja standard gauge. Couldn't that have been replicated in Rivers State? We also heard of Kanu Maradi, Niger Republic gauge. Wouldn't that be replicated here? Now, reluctantly, under his very nose, it was agreed that what will be done here is a narrow gauge. Where is the narrow gauge? Instead, what we now see is that even the initial locomotive, the Chiki locomotive, the charcoal locomotive that used to come from Aba, can no longer enter Rivers State because they have scooped the rail lines from, if you go to the Fruit Garden Market to the railway station, now, you will see nothing. So there's no way a train can even ride. In fact, it's now for vehicles to drive in. So now, if you just suppose this, if you find that the governor was right when he said that in his time he attracted projects, that in the Rotimi Amaechi's time, none of such things,
But again, Chief Tenekoja, I'm very sorry to cut you short there. Coming from someone like you, who it's demanded to give 100% loyalty, don't you think those coming to make could even breed bad blood? For example, in your article, you said Dr. Adol Peterside couldn't retain as Director General NIMASA for a second time after a widely acclaimed brilliant performance on the saddle. Dr. Sokonte David lost months of exploration as his tenure as Executive Director Delta Project NPA for reasons Dr. Sokonde Davis himself summarized as internal intrigue in Amaechi's political family. Multi-billion naira cleaning job for equipment imported from China, promised Chief Igbokwe of Eche, for which reason the hopeful organizer of Thanksgiving was a fluke, and you went on and on. Yeah. Don't you think you're breeding bad blood?
No, I could have continued. I'm talking about the negatives that are accrued instead of the positives. Shego, look, and I want Rivers people to know that I only side reasonability and reasonableness. I am not a man taken by emotions. I'm not taken by sentiments for whatever it is worth. If you are wrong, you are wrong, and I should look at you straight to your face and say you are wrong. That's what makes a man. I'm not in competition with him. I'm not in whatever with him. But for whatever it is worth, we are putting the case the way it ought to be. Shego, for crying out loud. There were times, or there was time in River State when we had the NDDC at our beck and call. And at that point that we are talking about, the honorable minister was in charge, latently or patently. Now, how did that impact the lives of the people? You know, some people say, oh, people are defecting to APC, to PDP because of money that the Governor is giving them. Money. I do not agree. Now, when we had the opportunity to do so, how did we deploy it? So when issues are straight, you say they are straight. If you ask me a question where I think that anybody else hasn't done well, no matter the relationship I have with a person, it will not affect me. I will tell you the truth. I'm sure you will take me on the issue of APC.
Definitely, we will come to that because you see, Chief Tony Okocha, the Bible says there is time for everything.
Yes.
And again, there is time you have words to say and you don't say, and there is time you just have to say something. But again, this is the time whereby, well, if you want to put it, the supporters of Right Honorable Chibuike Amaechi are healing over what happened at the convention and the loss of Chibuike Amaechi, and they're trying to grapple with the candidature of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And now you are coming up with all of these. Don't you think you're trying to dissuade them from saying, okay, if Tony Okocha, who seems to be speaking for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is coming against our leader, then this is what we will do. Don't you think so?
No, that will be most unfortunate. And I also thought it's going to be most unfortunate because I don't know why you think or anybody would think that speaking the truth becomes an anathema. I don't know why people would think so. Now, what I believe clearly is that if it is their loss and they're ruining their loss, it's a pity. After the convention comes came a candidate, and that we all should work for and work with. If for any reason anybody says that Tony Okocha spoke the truth, and for that reason Tinubu will not win election in Rivers State, the person will be goofing. It's a political gaffe for anybody to imagine so. And I tell you, I've told you here that Tinubu will win more votes in Rivers State than APC. It might sound philosophical.
Well, it sounds philosophical.
Yeah, you did. I know the reason why.
Yes.
Now that with the era and the system that it's operating, I just believe and wish that it is not fingered, because I was reading an article yesterday and I was reading how some persons were attempting to, distort the BVAS machine and all of that.
Yeah.
Now, if the BVAS machine is real, you find out that people that win election may not necessarily be people who are, members of the grade 1 or grade A political parties. Some who are in the fringes, who have track records, might be voted for, because at this time, the votes will count. Mm-hmm. So when I decide a person to vote for a person because of a person's track record or what I think that the person is able to do, it has nothing to do with writing. It's a departure from where certain persons put money together, maybe use State Fund or whatever, buy off all the result sheets, get the ballot boxes, and write results and determine for you and I who will be the next person. But here, the votes will count. And if the votes will count, I can tell you that for Bola Ahmed Tinubu's track records that he's able to do, that is speaking for him, or that are speaking for him, the heavens will be his stepping, or the sky rather will be his stepping stone in Rivers State.
Well, we know that campaigning have now started, and we're looking forward to the commencement of campaigning from the 28th of this month. But again, the popularity of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Rivers State is another one in question. Do you really think he's that popular? Does he have the carriage?
Really, very popular. So why don't you wait? Let's roll out the drums. It's difficult for us to begin to assess one's popularity maybe on the pages of newspaper or what I call the media political hyping. Is typical of some of these presidential candidates. Media hyping. All right. By the time we roll out the drums and sit down, tell the people what we know about Bola Ahmed Tinubu and what Nigerian will be requiring going forward, then I can tell you that everybody will be falling head over heels for him.
But again, if he is that popular as you claim, why then would he be holding talks with Governor Ezenwa this weekend, the possibility of getting Rivers State, to the extent that Ibrahim Masari was quoted on an Hausa BBC program as saying Wike will assist Tinubu to win in 2023, though Governor Wike has said, well, he has not spoken to Masari for a very long time. But again, if it's that popular...
Every good politician, all right, has no enemy. What is permanent in politics? Okay, let me use our own claim, is permanent interest. There's no permanent friends, no permanent enemies. It's permanent interest. Now, if you think that Mr. A has a key, or rather, has what to offer, don't forget that Governor Wike has just one vote to cast. But yeah, as governor of Rivers State and as a popular politician, he may also have some other people, clientele, other people that he may carry and say, look, this is where I want us to go, and they will join him. Fine. So if you have that popularity and you have that capacity to help, and I'm a politician, I'll come to you. You are not my enemy. All right. Even when you see people who are members of a political party, are they all friends? Are they all lovers? No. They are, some of them are daggers drawn, some of them are diametrically opposed to themselves, but within them they have a common interest. And what is the common interest? To have the realms, to be in control of the realms of governance and be part of governance itself.
Fantastic. If you're tuning in, you're listening to Point Blank, and we're speaking to Chief Tony Okocha. Chief Tony Okocha is a member of the Tinubu campaign in Rivers State and indeed the entire Niger Delta region. And we are speaking on the possibility and the chances of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Rivers State, and that's what we're talking about. We just throw open the telephone lines. We'll take the first 3 calls in the first instance, and don't forget, you can also send us your comment on Facebook, on Twitter, as well as on WhatsApp, and you can watch this show live on Facebook on Super 93.3 FM on Facebook. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is Point Blank.
Hello, good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to my chief.
Good morning.
This is Colonel Barakopi calling.
Good. Thank you for joining us.
Okay. Well, Stephen, I don't know the parameters you use drawing to the conclusion that Tinubu has 25% chances of winning. Well, I want to assure you and the Rivers people that Tinubu, as Tiwaju we know in Nigeria, have 100% chances of winning this election comes 2023 in Rivers State. Especially in Rivers State, Tinubu must win, and he have his roots in almost all the political parties in Nigeria. It's like a citrus tree.
Okay, my brother. Let me just quickly say that we want to be very careful because we're not campaigning. This is not campaigning, and we understand what the rules are. So we would want you to ask questions that will not border on campaigning and make statements that will not border on campaigning. Well, thank you so much for that. Let me quickly take this. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Hello.
My name is Thomas Beke.
Okay, Mr. Beke, thank you so much, but you're not very audible. We want you to be a bit more audible.
All right. I want to contribute to your discussion in studio. I want to talk about salute the Georgia chief in the studio, Tony Okocha.
Thank you.
One of the founders of Akiwaju in Rivers State. And I want to say that by my own understanding and analysis of Nigerian politics, I think that Akiwaju has a chance of winning at least 30 to 40% of cast in Rivers State. Why did I say so? I sat down and I discussed with politicians across political parties, and they will tell you that my brother Akiwaju stands a chance to win. Even doing that, people believe in a politician who has the ability and the capability to make a difference.
Okay.
I want to look at.
Well, let us just leave that, Mr. Beke, and we quite appreciate your contribution so far, and you just made your point very clear. Let's take another one here. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is Point Blank.
Hello, good morning, Jim.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, my name is Barrister Chizi.
Barrister Chizi, good morning.
Yeah, let me say good morning to my chief in your studio.
Dear brother, Maker.
Yeah, Chenu, to be very precise, I don't know how we should handle this matter. He said it is not a political time, so we
It
should be
is
very
not
careful. I don't know.
campaigning. It is not
That's what I mean. It's
campaigning,
not
not
campaigning.
necessary.
So I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know the extent we callers should be very careful why the guest in your studio is helping us to promote our candidate that he will win, and he must win. That's the obvious truth. But there are three things involved in this discussion. One, the guest in your studio is talking as a member of an NGO. And NGO is not the platform that will roll out what is required of a political party during campaign. So we should just limit it to an NGO basis. And whether he's an APC member or not an APC member shouldn't be an issue as at now. You may not even be a political party member, but because you want somebody to win, you form an NGO to support the person. When as much as we in Rivers State knows, like you talked about the letter, as the chief of staff to the state chairman, I received the letter when it was sent from the NGO, and we didn't even have any recourse to it because we know that the chief in your studio is not, as we speak, is not a member of APC. So I received the letter and we threw it to the trash. That's why we didn't respond to it.
You threw it to the trash? You threw it to the trash?
I quote the Mr. Chief. I said we threw it to the trash because we know he's not a member of our political party as at now we speak. Now, you're also talking about me and what he did. So I don't know how we just suppose this. I don't know how we fix it in as talking about an NGO supporting Tinubu, and Amici is also a member of a peer party supporting Tinubu, and we're also here discussing the same Amici. Of what essence are we even going to talk?
Now, actually, we were referring to an article. I want to put you in perspective. I was referring to an article published by Chief Tony Okota yesterday, where he made those comments. And to me, I was thinking that, well, as a member of the APC, those comments are too blunt to be made in the public domain. That's my thinking, actually.
No, you ought not to think that way because you know what is happening in Rivers State and what has happened in Rivers State and how it happened. So let me just call to your attention not to think towards that, so that leave that issue. Then lastly, the chief in your studio said that what matters in politics is interest, and that Governor Wike would tell his people where to vote. According to Masari, who he said Wike will help Rivers people, will help Tinubu to win election. And the guest in your studio, a former chieftain of APC and the recognized stakeholder in politics, is telling you that what matters is interest. And at the level of a governor, who his interest will matter against the decision of the political party, and the chieftain there knows what they call antipathy, and yet he is encouraging that. But the end will justify the means. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Barrister Chizen. And I think I would just allow Chief Tony Okota, who was laughing all the while, to just make his reaction to all of that. There you have it. That was the chief of staff to the APC in Rivers State saying you are not a member of the party. And he has also accused you of playing anti-party.
Well, Sheikh, I think I heard him clearly. First and foremost, let me say that the two speakers, penultimate speakers, did my case, to answer to the capacities and capabilities of Tinubu, winning election in Rivers State. So I want to thank them for that. On the issue that Chizi raised, I just laughed. Chizi is my younger brother. I'm sorry to be personal, but he also knows that I recruited him into the APC. And I said to you that I'm a founding member of the All Progressive Congress in Rivers State, and none of them can deny that fact. In fact, even the making of a chairman, the pioneer chairman of the party, I was at the epicenter of it.
And you're talking about Chief Emeka Bekee.
Yes, Emeka Bekee's regime. Well, we had Dr. Ibiamu.
Davis Ibiamu
as the chairman, yes. I was at the center of it. Look, if there was anybody, I've told you before, at the point that we lost the PDP structure, which of course, we fell for the stronger might of the center. I was in court in all the cases. When I saw that it was clear to us that we were losing the structure. We had nowhere else to lean on, and then we needed to leave. And then I was the center. I was the chief of staff. I was at the governor's political desk, and nobody can take that away. That is my office. So there was nothing that happened in our formation or our membership of the APC that I didn't know. It was I organized the people that went to receive the governors that came. When it was a show in Government House where the Tinubu led President Muhammad Buhari now, all right,
yes.
and then Chief Akande. It was in Government House. It was my show. I own the Government House. It's my precinct of authority.
Yeah.
So I organized that event there. So there's nothing anybody else will tell me. Even the undercurrents, the subterranean schemes, all right, I was in charge. You know, if they said there was money to be deployed, it was me as chief of staff that would do so. If there were very important decisions or rather information that should be given out, I was the one the information was passed through. So I don't know what anybody will say about APC that I do not know about. I have not resigned from the APC. So at what point did I cease being a member of the APC? I did not acquiesce to the style, the tactics of my leader, rather the leader of the APC and my former boss. I didn't, and I didn't. It was clear to every Nigerian. From 2016, when we started a post-mortem of what happened to us in 2015, and the meeting, we saw that the issue now became the I instead of the we. It became clear that so some of us who do not believe in totalitarianism and despotism, that we must leave that camp. Not that I left the APC. And I was very prolific. I was prolific in my support for the APC, but I had also told the world and told Rivers people and told Nigerians that the style of leadership that my former boss was churning out, was deploying to APC or APC in Rivers State will lead us to the abyss. And of course that was happened. Didn't you see what happened in 2019? APC was unable to field candidates. And as we speak, as robust as APC was when it was founded in Rivers State, we are almost like a social club. What is the essence of a political party? You field candidates for election, contest election and win, and hold the reins of governance. You may not win all after all. But that a political party is not able to field a candidate. I mean, if a sword loses its taste, what happens? It's thrown away. So a party degenerated to almost a social club where what we do is attend burials. If it is my birthday, you see somebody post birthday wishes and all of that. Is that the essence of a political party? No.
But again, Chief Tony Okocha.
So those were my grouses. Yes. So that for anybody to say that because we were critical, we're no longer a member. I give you another instance.
Okay.
You know, it was rumored, it was brandished. People, they said all kinds of things that Magnus was not a member of the APC. Because, okay, Magnus led the group in APC that I was an ardent follower. Okay, so all of us were tagged anti-party or non-APC because we had left Amechi's own camp. We had two divisions in Rivers State APC. It was clear. Why they had Emeka Beke as chairman, we had Golden Benchoma as chairman of our own party. And all of them, passed through one convention or one congress or the other. And they said, oh, Magnus is no longer party member because he did not revalidate. And we made our cases. We said revalidation is not in the constitution of the party. We are not going to do so. Even when we wanted to do so, we found out that they had skewed the rules. For some of us who they knew were what they are doing there, that led the party metamorphose into social club, they refused us materials or access to materials.
While I would love for you to continue with this trajectory, but again, I just want us to come to the reality of things in the day. And my question is, are you disturbed? You've said it here on the program that you are an ardent follower of Bola Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu.
Yes.
But again, are you disturbed that Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu himself has not been consulted with your party? Because you said to us that you're a member of the APC, though Barrister Chisholm said you're not a member of the APC. To the best we know, Bola Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu seemed not to be consulting with your party here in Rivers State. Is that correct? And are you disturbed if that is correct?
No. You know, Shegu, you see, there are in certain issues I like being reticent. That is, I just like being reserved. But let me assure you, let me tell you and tell Rivers people that I've been before my principal here in Rivers State, the distinguished Senator Magnus Abe, decided to take the bulls by the horn to join another political party to be able to put himself on the ballot and contest election. He was at the center of the decision making in the innermost kitchen of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So who is saying that they're not consulting?
But now Senator Magnus Abe is contesting on the umbrella of SDP, not APC.
Agreed. And that's why some of us have taken the driver's seat. I used to be at the passenger seat, but we have taken the driver's seat because he's left the party. He's doing the SDP. Well, some of us who are still in APC, we have taken the because they didn't support Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They didn't hide it.
So, Chief Tony Okocha, are you saying...
And somebody saying a group of NGO, I will say, when you made your intro here, I said to you that I vanguard for Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 2023. And it was that platform that we used to suppress and to defeat them here. Those who supported Rotimi Amechi for presidential whatever. It was what we used. Now that they are not going to benefit, I'm sorry that there's a word the judge used. It was not my word. The judge said that somebody should not benefit from his stupidity. It's not my word, I'm sorry. I'm also not trying to derogate or denigrate on anybody. But I'm just quoting a judge. That somebody should not benefit from his stupidity or her stupidity. If they lost election and they're ruining what they are lost, we're saying that the elections are over. So that I didn't support your camp does not mean that I'm not a member of APC that I founded. I co-founded APC in Rivers State.
So if I may ask you this, and I'm asking you this, Chief.
And it's strange, anyhow, to hear that there is a chief of staff to a chairman of party. I don't want to discuss it because it's my party. And I'll tell you that we are at the threshold of building that party and making sure that the party is formidable, at least if for nothing else, for Bola Ahmed Tinubu to become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Since you claim to be a member of the APC in Rivers State,
I'm not claiming. I know that I am a member.
You said you are a member.
Yes, very well.
What we know is that the leader of the APC in Rivers State today is Right Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amechi, and what we also know that the chairman of the party is Chief Emeka Beke. Are you saying the leadership of APC in Rivers State are not in support of Bola Ahmed Tinubu or are not mobilizing for support for Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Is that what you're saying?
They will speak for themselves.
But you should know. You should know. You are a chieftain of the APC.
No,
you
sir.
should know.
Let me tell you, sir. The problem here is you can even see from the tune of the man who said he's chief of staff. Like I said, I haven't heard that kind of nomenclature in party leadership. I haven't seen that kind of thing before. It means that there is a missing gap that somebody is brought into field, to fill in. Not a problem. Now, in Rivers State, where you have APC, I agree. All of us are quizzed to the leadership of Rotimi Amechi, and even as it is today, we are. Now, after the elections and the emergence of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, naturally, people should close ranks and work together. But I don't know whether they are perceiving a body language or somebody that is making them for drag, pussyfoot, being pusillanimous. So should we remain there? I will move the train on. Tinubu must win election in Rivers. At least you have seen what, from the sidelines, what people are saying. That's to show you that the moment you roll out the drums and say to them and give them the man's CV and his record of achievements in governance and all of that, you see people will
so again, if you say, you have said that severally, that Tinubu must win election in Rivers State, but again, you are accusing your party of foot dragging in ensuring things. So where would you say they're stronger towards? Are you saying they're looking somewhere else?
Yeah, Shegu, remember that I've said to you that Tinubu will win more votes.
But we're concerned about your party. You are saying you're a member of APC. We're concerned about the leadership of your party.
The party is a nomenclature. It's made up of human beings. So when the microscopic few, connive or attempt to undercut the entire the system, it will not budge. I can tell you that the larger mass, the supporters, APC members in Rivers State, the larger mass of the APC members in Rivers State believe in Tinubu and that Tinubu will be president. At that point they were saying, some of you who are supporting Tinubu is 100 years, he's about to die. And I said to them, yes, if you had read the Bible, I even want Tinubu, even if he were 100 years to be president, if he has what it takes to transform Nigeria. You recall that if you read the Bible, Moses was 120 years when he led the children of Israel to the promised land. So if he could do that, what is there in bringing a centenarian or whatever it's called to be president of Nigeria to the extent that you take us from our doldrums?
Chief Tony Okocha, we want you to stay with us. We're just going to take some calls now, and we're speaking to Chief Tony Okocha, who is an ardent supporter of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, and he's been speaking to us on what he thinks are the fortune of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu in the coming presidential election. Let's take this call. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is Point Blank.
Yeah, Shagun, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, my name is J.A.J. and I'm calling you from Port Harcourt.
J.J., good morning.
Shagun, I've listened to this program from the beginning. I want to start from the beginning too. First, you ask if Chief Tony Okocha is still a member of the APC.
Yes,
Shagun, I want to remind you in 2015 that there were people who were strong ally of the leader of the APC in Rivers State, Chibike Rotimi Amaechi. When he was crossing from the PDP to APC, most of them didn't follow. So because Magnus Abe moved from the APC to SDP does not mean every of his allies will follow. Then you talked about Dakuku, Peter Sai, Sokote Davis, and others not going back. Shegun, the question now is to you, did they go back? And the project, Shegun, I also know that you were instrumental to bringing Super FM to Port Harcourt, true of us. We push it to you because they were not here before. When you left the other side and you brought it here, and we'll give it to you. We even call it Shegun Station, whether you like it or not. Now, the question people are asking, not about UNEP report that Amina Zakari worked out things, not about part of the Delta Road or East-West Road where Akpabi was working things out and all those stuff to put together. Shegun, let me even ask, when at the access of the Ogoni part, when there was protest, who went there to make sure that those old protests is settled? Why not the person they are claiming right now that said he did something, why not he come and settle the matter? Even in the international airport that was under his control, when they were commissioning it, the president came here. Was he here? So all these things put together, tell us what he did, what he brought under the Ministry of Transportation, not all this weather. And conclusively, Shegun, the man that doesn't have the list of membership of the APC is not the one coming to tell you he's a member or who is not a member, chief of staff or chief of army staff. Lord have mercy. Thank you very much.
Well, Jerry. Okay, let me just come back here and take this other one. Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. This is Point Blank.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chief of Tony Okocha. My name is Susie. I'm calling from Hema community.
Thank you so much.
I have read the piece you dropped on the media, and I have also considered it not invited that it should even be saved in the archive so that the history will be part to part. Yes, like JJ has just said, what has the minister done to Rivers State people? It should have been a complimentary thing for the minister to have done things on the transport ministry where he is. But what they are telling us now is that he brought ASAM. He brought what is it called? Seaport and all of that. But some of the things that they mentioned, you cannot find by fact. So let me also inform you that those who are claiming to be that Tony Okocha is working for their candidates were those who actually said that Tinubu is ill. Yes. They were those that wear Tinubu pancakes on media. They were those that diminished Tinubu. So they, even their leader came to Port Harcourt. When he landed in the airport, he did not ask the members of the party Rivers State to support Tinubu. He said they should support the party. And they're treating their candidate. So what are they talking about? The man who is in the studio today has taken a front seat in charge of Tinubu Vanguard in Rivers State. Where is Rivers State APC? The governor that came to Rivers State from APC National, they did not even visit the party in the state. What are they telling us? All sorts of contradiction and hypocrisy that has fought APC in Rivers State. They are still languishing in self-denial and self-deception. Thank you very much for my community.
Well, thank you so much. And let's take this. Good morning. And this will be before we come back to Chief Tony Okocha. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Point Blank.
Good morning, Mr. Shegun.
Good morning.
My name is Domenembe, calling from Port Harcourt.
Domenembe, good morning, and thank you so much.
I want to ask your guest in the studio that is boasting that Tinubu will win election in Rivers State. On what ground will they campaign for Tinubu to win election in Rivers State? Is it for the railway that they've done to Rivers State? What federal project are they attracted to this state? Because anything we have as federal project in this state is what that was done from 1999 till the time Jonathan left office. So on what ground will they campaign for Tinubu in Rivers State?
Well, again, thank you so much. Thank you so much, my brother. I'm very sorry, but the line is cracky. Again, we've just said on the program that this is not campaigning, and we're not campaigning. We are aware of the law. The law states that campaigning begins from September 28th. But again, Chief Tony Okorocha, I think he has asked a very salient question. And again, can you actually remove APC from Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Because the predominant caller said something. He said, well, the leader of the party said support the party, did not say support Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Is it possible?
Well, the truth of the matter, Shegu, here is that Tinubu is not a slave to anybody's political, ideological underpinning. He is not. And to say that the party is removed from Tinubu is, can I use the word arrant nonsense?
Okay.
You know, advisedly. It's arrant nonsense. It's, a spew coming from people who know little or nothing about what is happening. Now, in Rivers State, just like the caller just said, what the caller said, you see, and I've said that before, that people are being a bit removed, withdrawn. Some of them who are members of the APC, who are on the other side. Also recall, when my former boss said that people who voted Tinubu are now regretting that they took money. People who took money and voted Tinubu at the National Convention are now regretting. And one wondered what that meant. And is it such body languages of leaders influence to a large extent the mindset of followership? So that is what you see playing out in this case. Now, we said we are not campaigning yet, but he's asking of the campaign nuggets. The last speaker was talking about the campaign nuggets. What are we going to campaign for? Now, if I were to be in Tinubu's shoes, and if I have the opportunity of advising Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I will invite that he departs from whatever is not right that the APC government has done in Nigeria, and go for those that are right, and improve on them. Because I tell people, I was guest to one studio again in Rivers State here, and then I say, you are speaking critically of your party. I say, yes, against the risk of being called an anti-party person. But that I'm first in Nigeria before a member of a political party. Shouldn't I say that Nigerians are suffering? Don't I know the tenets, the ideological underpinnings upon which APC was built? I know. Like I said, I'm a founding member. And I knew that APC was built on planks. Oh, we're going to curb corruption as much as possible. Well, if we cannot eliminate it, we should be able to curb corruption. We should be able to empower our people, put food on our table. We should be able to deal with security. These are the planks upon which the APC government stood, and for which Nigerians believed that, look, we should see whether we can have some moment of respite. Now, in clear conscience, as an APC member, have we done very well on these planks? My answer would be a capital NO. Right? Whether Tinubu will now follow that, we said if we had electricity, some of these SMAs will thrive. If we had good roads, some of the problems we're having today, criminalities and insecurity problems, are more like fuel, because when you run on the road and you're on a snail speed, you are in trouble.
Chief Tony Okorocha, I beg your pardon. We just have about 2 minutes left, and of that 2 minutes, I've just been told that the spokesperson of your party has been calling to join in this conversation, and we're just going to allow him for just about a minute. Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. Darlington Wajud, thank you so much.
Good morning, Mr. Sheldon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Good morning, Chief Tony Okorocha.
My dear friend Darlington, how are you? Good morning.
I greet you, sir.
You are blessed.
Mr. Shoko and River people, you must know, share so many things going on with Chief Tony Okorocha. But I am shocked at his comments this morning. So shocked, because I remember vividly that Chief Tony was one of those who always told me stories about persons who abandoned or who betrayed the right, the honorable Rotimi Amaechi. But, well, I leave him to his conscience. However, there was a comment he made about the divisions that was orchestrated by Senator Magnus Abi and his friends within the APC. And he said that there was a Congress or there was a party being run or managed by...
Now, Darlington, you just have less than 30 seconds because we need to wrap up the program.
Sorry, my question is, he is claiming that there was indeed a faction that was running within the APC. And I wonder, where did that faction he's talking about hold their own Congress?
Okay.
Where was the venue?
All right, fantastic.
And again,
Let's just leave it at that.
Who chaired? Which committee from Abuja monitored that particular Congress?
Well, again,
that is what I'm interested in.
Thank you so much, Darlington.
People.
Now, we just had to take the call because it's a spokesperson. But again, in 30 seconds, maybe you could just reply to that because we're rounding up now.
Yeah, thanks. Yes, Darlington, let me take him. I wouldn't know when I schooled him about what betrayal is. If he was my student on the issue of betrayal, he would know what betrayal means from my parlance. Because, you know, some of them misconstrued ideological difference for betrayal. I'm sorry, I'm not part of that. I'm not cut out for that. The other thing, again, is that he's trying to discuss individuals. You know, the Latin man calls it ad hominem. Ad hominem. I don't discuss human beings, I discuss ideas. That's how I'm primed. Now, on the issue of faction and all that, I think we have flogged that matter dead. It's dead and buried long ago. We have said that times and again, and I don't think I want to repeat it again, because the party, as I speak to you, we consider the party is one, and the party has a candidate for presidential election and other elections and all of that. We are supposed, I speak for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So he speaks for the party. To God be the glory. I'm a member of the party.
Fantastic, man. Let us just leave it at that. In the coming days, Chief Tony Okocha will be engaging you more, and by then, we hope that campaigning would have started. Yes, definitely should have started. But again, we must thank you sincerely for your wonderful speech and for obliging to be a guest in this studio this morning. Thank you so much, Chief Tony Okocha.
Thank you so much. I will be here over and over and over and over again.
Thank you so much. We can appreciate that. And that's it on Point Blank this Saturday. And we thank every one of you for joining us. We apologize to those who have been calling. Again, there will be other platforms to talk about that. Stay with us for other programs. This is Super 93.3 FM. Good morning.
We know what you want and how you want it.
You're Super FM. Yeah!
Everyone needs a superhero. On the station, show up.
It's real.
It is. Super FM. We simply square up and leave.
Okay, I'm in.